Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team. And for this layout, I'm going to be using one of Paige's cut files. This is the scalloped border background cut file. And I have already cut out several of them from a piece of white cardstock. And then I cut it again because I wanted to have a lot of scallops on my background. And I'm going to use lots of pattern papers from actually all 5 of Paige's collections. I have mixed and matched and combined, and I'm going to create lots of rainbow colors. And I'm just scrapping some everyday photos of me and my oldest girl, and we were just hanging out on the couch one day being silly, and so that is what I'm going to scrap. And I had this idea of just creating layers and layers of scallops. And I don't even know why. I just was browsing through the cut files and this one sort of jumped out at me and I thought, I think I'm going to do something like that. And so I'm just kind of playing around here with the design idea, and I thought I would go have the photos in the center and then have kind of a cascade of scallops starting wide and then getting narrower and narrower at the bottom, and then the reverse at the top. And it's going to create sort of a weird shape, but I like it. I think it turns out pretty cool and it looks pretty different, and it was fun to make. And so here's where I'm thinking, I think I want to go rainbow. And so I took some time to go through a lot of the pattern papers, and I really did not want to cut into 2 beautiful 12 by 12s. So I pulled out the 6x6 paper pads. I do use some of the 12 by 12, but I started out with the 6x6s, and the small papers or even your scraps are perfect for this. And so I traced one of the inside pieces of the scallops and then cut it out. And some of these I'm just going to start to eyeball it, and I'm going to stick these little cut pieces on top. I don't want to back them this time. Usually I will cut the shape and then back it, but I kind of wanted to make it look a little different. And so I'm going to stick these little cut apart pieces right on top, and I'm going to glue them down once I get all the red shades done. So I was just looking for anything that was in the red family in any of the collections. Light red, dark red, just any kind of red tones. And then I'm going to do the same for each color of the rainbow. Almost. And I want them to look kind of crooked, not perfect, a little wonky, and I think that just adds to the fun of it. And so that is another option that you could do with cut files. So here I am just gluing them down, just a little bit of glue at the top of each one, and then kind of making a messy and crooked little scalloped border there. So then I'm going to wind up doing the same thing at the top, but I'm going to go ahead and do all the different colors and see, what I'm going to wind up with. I'm going to go through and pick out the next color, which is orange, and it winds up being sort of a peachy color, but there you can see I took some time off camera to fill it all in. I've got pink, yellow, green, aqua, and then the dark blue, and then I'm just going to keep going and do the same thing again, and this is going to be above the photos. And so I wanted to work in some of the blue, some of the dark blue, and so I'm going to use that. I've got the Turn the Page collection. I've got some Pick Me Up. I've got some Take Me Away, some Fancy Free, and Oh My Heart. And yeah, just little bits and pieces of each one. And this is a fun way to get lots of color, lots of pattern on your page in small doses. So here we go. This is kind of sort of the way it's going to look. And then I'm going to fill in things on the side. So I'm going to pull out some white cardstock because I have so much color going on that there's no way I could narrow down a pattern paper or a colored cardstock to go for this. So I just went with white. That way all the colors are going to pop off the page and show up really well. And I just added some clear gesso, and then I just want some color on the background because as you can see how I laid everything out, most of this is going to be covered up. I just wanted some color on the background. So this is going to be really quick and messy because a lot of it is going to be just kind of peeking out from around all of those scallops. And I actually like how this turns out. I love the colors. in what I'm making here, and I almost didn't want to cover it up because it looks so cool when you use the palette knife to scrape it. It looks totally different than when you use the packaging technique. And I was kind of sad. I was like, oh, I don't want to cover that up. It looks kind of cool. But I'm just kind of practicing here and seeing what it will look like and seeing how far up I need to move all those scallops to get the photos right in the middle, and then how much space I'm going to need to do the layering down at the bottom. And then I realized that I need more color further out. And so I'm just going to come back and add more, and it's going to just look like a big old mess here. And it is. I'm just randomly spraying, trying not to mix and match the colors. I want to keep them separate. They're going to blend into each other a little bit, but yeah, and I am going to wind up toning down these colors because clearly this is way, way bright. I've got a lot of color going on here, and so I don't want the scallops to blend in with too much color on the background. And so in order to fix that, I'm just going to add some white gesso and kind of blend it out and make it a little bit faded. And so you're still going to notice the color in the background, but it's not going to be so bright that it's going to compete with all the colors in the papers. And so sometimes your background, or for me, sometimes the background is the main thing, and sometimes the background is the secondary thing. And in this case, it's just going to be secondary. So there you can see what the gesso did. You can still see the color back there, but it's toned down quite a bit. And it doesn't take away from the scallops. It actually kind of helps it stand out a little bit more. And you could totally do this without adding color to the background. If you are a clean and neat scrapper and you don't like to get messy, you could certainly do this on clean white cardstock. Now this paper is from the 12 by 12 Fancy Free collection. That was Paige's very first collection, and I've always loved this multicolored circle paper. And so I thought, what could I add to fill in some of the spaces on the sides of the photos? And so this was my first thought. So I'm going to fussy cut a couple of these circles out, and this is going to wind up going through a lot of changes here because I changed my mind quite a bit. Because, you know, I can kind of add any color in there because I've got so many colors going on, but I didn't want to add anything that was red or orangey coral or pink because those are the colors that are closest to the pictures. So I kind of wanted to keep everything that I add now to the colors that are more far away from the pictures, if that makes sense. And I still wind up changing this. I thought I would spread the photos apart and then add a circle in the middle, but I just didn't like the way it looked with the photos spread apart because it left this trapped space in the middle. And just, I don't know, I wanted them to kind of touch and overlap a little bit. So I go back and forth and try to decide what to use. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and glue down all of the scallops. And I'm just going to layer the red first and then kind of tuck the next one underneath it, and then so on and so forth, and keep going until they are all glued down and they're all going to overlap. And then crazy me, I decided that I wanted to machine stitch through them. So I very carefully, I don't think I've done it yet, but I am going to take each color thread and stitch through each line of scallops. And that's coming shortly, I believe. I'm going to add some tissue paper behind the photos just to give a little bit more of a messy, subtle layer behind there. And then I'm going to start to embellish. And again, I'm going to play around with these circles, and I just can't make them work. I don't know. I wanted to layer something on top of the pictures right in the middle because I have some space to do that, but I just couldn't decide. It took me a while to come to a decision of what to add. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add some foam, and that's just going to raise the photos up off the page. And then I remembered I had this sticker book that Paige came up with, or that contains Paige's Turn the Page and Oh My Heart collections. And so I thought when I saw this sticker, I wanted to use this as my title. It says, Mom Life is the Best Life. And I'm going to wind up mixing and matching. Now that's a clear sticker, and if I was just to stick it right onto this layout, you would not be able to see it. There you can see where I did the stitching. Very carefully ran it through my sewing machine. So I attached the mom life to a piece of vellum and then fussy cut it out. And so far, that's all I've got for the title. Now, I'm going to take some time to go through this sticker book here and add some layers behind the picture or the pictures, and then just see what else I've got. Add that little piece in that says weekend. There's so many stickers. There's 30 pages in this sticker book, and you can order this from scrapbook.com. I believe people have gotten them at Hobby Lobby as well. Yeah, all kinds of stickers. I'm going to add some flowers over on the left and then a butterfly on the right. It's going to be just kind of random things that match here and there. I wasn't specifically looking for just flowers or just circles or just butterflies. I just wanted to find things that matched. Now for my thread, I went with the darker blue color since that's the color that's the farthest away from the middle. I thought it would add that pop of dark blue around that area. So I've got yellow, and now I've got some pink, and now some of the darker blue. And like I said, I don't want to add anything else that's red because I've already got a lot of red right by the photos. Mom Life is going to go right there, and you can see it a lot better up close and in person. And then I'm going to just kind of center the title right in the middle of the pictures. And these are the mini thickers from the Pick Me Up collection. So is going to be in that, and then I'm going to use the Pick Me Up chipboard thickers to spell out the word best. And again, they're multicolored. They match this color scheme perfectly. So it's going to be Mom Life is the best life. And then I'm going to come back in with the thickers. I actually wind up changing these out and using the navy blue ones because the white ones just sort of blended in. You can't really see them. So later I'm going to wind up changing those. And there you can see where I changed it. Now you can really see the word life. And again, it gives it another pop of that dark blue. So I'm going to add in some butterflies. I fussy cut one out right now to add over to the left. And then I'm going to add in a couple hearts. Again, I'm just trying to pick colors that I don't have in that general area. And these are just the real thin paper stickers from the sticker book. And I didn't want to give too much more on here because the scallops are really busy. There's already so much color. And I don't even know what kind of shape you would call this. It's not even perfect. It just reminds me of mermaid scales, but I just thought it was cute. It was something different. It was just in my mind and I just went with it. These are, I guess you could say they're kind of meant for planners, but they're almost clear stickers, and I'm going to mix and match some of those onto parts of the scallops that are the same color. And then I'm going to add in a couple of more butterflies that I fussy cut out in coordinating colors. And I'm just going to tuck those in a couple places on the scallops just for some added detail. And I like that this is random and wonky, and I mainly was just going for lots of color and a rainbow effect. I'm going to add that yellow heart right there in the middle to kind of break the pictures up a little bit more, and again to add a pop of a bright color right there amongst all that red. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of journaling down at the bottom because I did not think any other place would work since it's kind of one of those layouts where things are centered up. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add in some black splatters, and that's some shimmers colorings that I have. But there's the final layout. I did add the date. I love how random and weird and wonky this turned out. The background really has no specific meaning other than it's just fun and different and colorful. And I loved mixing and matching all the different papers from all 5 of Paige's collections. You can really come up with any kind of color scheme if you just really look at it and you know, hold all the papers out, like open up all the paper pads and go through them. Lots of fun. So anyway, let me know if you had any questions about any of this. This was a lot of fun to make. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a great week.